Hey, what's going on, guys? And welcome back to another episode of Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes, where today we are making a video that has been requested for a very long time. And we are finally going to rank all of the characters in the game on the Hall of Fame. Now, in case you guys do not know what I mean by the Hall of Fame, in case you're new to this channel or this is the very first video you are seeing of mine, it has been a staple of my in-depth character reviews where after I review a character, we rank them on this table from Grandmaster to Youngling. Now, the table you are looking at right now, it is a very old table and it has been used since August of last year, and a lot of the rankings have not changed, despite the fact that the game has changed a lot since those first few character reviews. So today, what we are going to do is we are going to rank all of the characters in the game right now, because as you guys know, it takes a long time to make these videos. Every in-depth review takes at least 8 hours to make, and I only have time to usually make 1 to 3 in-depth reviews at most per week. And with the rate of the game now, a lot of characters are coming in the game, and sometimes faster than I can review them. So what I'll be doing, I have a few things lined up today. I will be explaining what each ranking means, what are the requirements to get at each ranking, and at the very end, I will show you the new and updated graph of all of the characters ranked in the game. It looks pretty cool, and I also have a surprise for you at the very end of a website where you can actually go ahead, see my completed Hall of Fame, and even more, but I'll save that for the end of the video to showcase that because I don't want to spoil the surprise just yet. So with that being said, let's take a look at all of the rankings now and the logic behind them, and we first start off with Grandmaster! Grandmaster is the highest status a character can achieve in this game. They need to be the best of the best. And before I keep going here, I just want to mention how all the characters in the game are ranked on a standalone basis. A lot of characters work great when they work with other characters in the game, but by themselves they aren't much to brag about. So do keep that in mind as we go forward. I'll explain that more as we get to further categories, but in the Grandmaster, you need to work in any type of lineup. There are just some of those characters, like Boba Fett, for example, that work no matter where you put him. You'll see him under a Palpatine lead, you'll see him under a Vader lead, under a Jyn Erso lead, under Captain Rex, under Captain Phasma. So many ways Boba Fett can work, and that is a huge requirement. A Grandmaster can't be someone that only works with, let's say, just Rebels, or only works when other characters are on the field, like Jawa Engineer. He's only amazing if there are other droids playing on the field with him, or other Jawas. On that same line of thinking, a character needs to work against many teams, and not just a particular team. For example, Emperor Palpatine is the first one that comes to mind. I can't think of any team out there that could benefit from having someone being able to stun and apply shock and be able to grant offense up. Those are all huge, and they work against many teams as well. Lastly, a character that is in the Grandmaster has to represent the ultimate goal that one should strive for depending on the particular role they play. In this game, we have 4 major roles. We have attacker, we have support, we have tank, and we also have the healer. With those requirements laid out, let's take a look at the next status, and that is Master! Now, at times, the difference between Master and Grandmaster is a very hard line to determine, since there are many great characters in the game, but they are just missing something that takes them that extra mile. But to be a Grandmaster, you still need to work in a variety of lineups, and you just can't be contained in only one type of lineup. You also need to be good at your role, but you are usually held back by something that makes you amazing. And here are a few examples. Biggs and Wedge, as you will soon see towards the end, they are ranked as masters because together they are absolutely amazing. But if you separate them and only have Biggs or only have Wedge, they are good, but they are not game-changing, unlike when they are put together. Anakin's another example. He can apply huge damage, but it only happens when you are losing allies versus all the time like other attackers in the game, such as Kylo Ren. Sun Fac is another example. A long time ago, I ranked him as a Grandmaster. He is still a fantastic tank, however, he is held back by quite a lot. First of all, he has to wait a long time for you to finally call his taunt compared to characters like General Kenobi, Shore Trooper, and Baze, and at the same time, when he finally tries to taunt, there's a good chance he can get ability blocked, stunned, shocked, or he has buff immunity, which is a big problem in the game nowadays. So it really diminishes his usefulness, but overall he is still a great tank and someone that I kind of consider as a character that starts to define that upper tail of the master status. With the requirements laid out for the master, our next category that we are talking about is Knight! Next up is the Knight status, and the Knight status starts to define that category of characters that really only shine when they work in certain circumstances and they just do not have the flexibility as characters in the Master or Grandmaster status. So to be a Knight in this game, it's generally going to require that a character really only excels very well in certain leaderships, certain lineups, or heavily requires the presence of another character. Very similar to what a Knight is in Star Wars, it's someone that requires the guidance of a Master or a Grandmaster. And an example of this is Commander Cody. He is great when he's with clones, but outside of clones, he's really not offering all that much. Jawa Engineer is another example. He makes droids so deadly by himself, but outside of droids and Jawas, he's just a guy tossing around thermal detonators everywhere, which might not be the most helpful for every other team. And just to toss in one more example, Ahsoka Tano is another one of those characters. She really needs the help of Anakin Skywalker to start being a deadly force. Outside of that, she's not doing all that much because she gains so many bonuses when Anakin Skywalker is present. The other things that I look for are characters that aren't as flexible as characters in the Master or Grandmaster status, kind of like Old Ben. Once he gets his ability block off, if he can, then he's done for the game. And if a character is really easily countered, then they're most likely going to end up in the Knight, kind of like Scarif Rebel Pathfinder. Once he has buff immunity on, he is pretty much done for the entire game. 2 more categories to go, with the next one being Padawan! The Padawan status is the category that starts to crawl towards the bottom of the barrel, and these are characters that really start to have minimal use in the game, even when used in very specific lineups. They have the bare bones of something that can be really good, but it's just diminished by everything else that we see in the game. For example, Cad Bane has some of the tools that can be very useful. He can stun and do multiple attacks, which is great, but his numbers and abilities do not blend very well, making him more of a burden than a help for your team. Mace Windu is another one of those characters that developers keep trying to make better, but his kit is just too underwhelming to be a huge help, and it's very difficult to find a spot for him to actually be effective in the game. Also, a Padawan is someone that has some usefulness, some very minor usefulness, but it's mainly because they rely way too heavily on someone. The best example is Magma Trooper. Yes, if he's with a Darth Vader Zeta, which is something only very advanced players can get in the game, you can find some usefulness. He is great to counter TIE Fighter pilots' opening attack, and he's great to help in the Rancor, but without that, he provides nearly nothing, much less than Jawa Engineer or Commander Cody in the Knight status, which I gave examples of, and he needs a lot of help to be a standalone good character. He has the tools, he's got that huge turn meter removal, but it just needs that extra oomph to get him up somewhere. And we finally make it to the most exciting category, and that is... It's not a tumor. Youngling! We finally reached the bottom of the barrel where we see these poor younglings screaming for help. They literally cannot be used in any lineup when thinking of endgame viability, and they provide literally next to nothing in terms of benefits for their squad. Unlike Padawan, you might be able to work something out, but with younglings, you literally can't. Chewbacca defines what I consider the upper tail of the youngling because he is helpful when you are a very, very early player at level 1, but he quickly will be replaced once you start unlocking other characters. Yes, Chewbacca has turn meter removal. You could make him work for the Rancor raid, but if you want to use that argument, there are so many other characters in the game nowadays that can solo the Rancor raid or get you huge amounts of damage, so Chewbacca really isn't even a top tier choice when you want to argue the Rancor raid. So that is why I will argue he is the highest tail of what I consider the Youngling category, but that alone does not make him a great or amazing character by any means. And unlike Padawans, these characters need a complete overhaul or other huge improvements, with Darth Maul being the prime shining example of someone who would have been a Youngling in the past, but now is a top tier threat in the game. And as you will see in a few moments, some other examples of Younglings are characters like Coruscant Underworld Police, Mob Enforcer Ugnaught, where they are just so painfully bad that makes you just want to completely forget about the fact that you invested time, effort, and gear into them. With all the categories lined up and their definitions, as well as some examples, it is now time to show you what the old Hall of Fame looked like. And now that you got a quick glance at it, I will now show you the new, improved, and revised, and completed Hall of Fame. So sit back and enjoy it. So there you have it, folks. This is the new and completed Hall of Fame. Of course, now that I ranked everyone, this will be a very dynamic table. So as updates come around, as new characters come around, as other changes come around, I will try and periodically go ahead and revise this table on the website that you will soon see in a few moments here. So as of today, as of March 7th, 2017, this is where I think all the characters line up in the game. This has all the revisions that were needed, such as Darth Vader. He really needed to be revised from his old standing, and if you notice, I really like the fact that this kind of unintendedly became a standard bell curve. As you'll see, the Knight has the most characters in, which is kind of the middle rung of where you expect most characters to land, and then you have the Youngling and Grandmaster status where you start having the extremes of the game. So I really like how this came out, and I hope you guys enjoyed this as well. I've already touched upon the surprise that I've been wanting to share with you, and I'll go ahead and show it to you now. There is now a website made by a great fan of mine. I can't exactly say their name, so I'll go ahead and show you a picture of what their name is. They're a great fan that reached out to me and asked if there's some way that they could help, and they went ahead and created a website where you can go ahead and see my Hall of Fame. And if you click on some of the pictures, it will direct you to a video that I made of their character review. As I said earlier, I don't have a review of every single character, so some faces you click will not take you anywhere, but as I go ahead and review more characters, this will be updated, so when you click on the face, it'll take you straight to their review that I made. Also, another thing we're working on, both him and I thought we should make this into some sort of community website where people can get opinions and guides and reviews from other YouTubers such as Smithy D, Warrior from Team Instinct, and Mobile Gamer, as well as some others. So if you have any comments or suggestions, feel free to contact them on Discord. We're hoping to make this a really great community hub for everyone to be a part of and to get a well-rounded experience in this game. For the rest of this week, I'm planning on getting more in-depth character reviews for Sith before the new characters for the Rebels come into the game. So if you are looking forward to that, let me know down below who you would like to learn more about. The ranking is already laid out, but hey, you might want to learn more about someone, so please feel free to let me know who you would like our next topic to be. But with all that said, thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this video by having all the characters laid out in a ranking table, as well as this website we're trying to make into something a bit bigger for everyone to have a great experience. But as always, if you did enjoy this video, please go ahead, comment down below, and subscribe for more Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes content, and we will talk soon. Peace out.